So, what are the eight of you seeking to achieve with this proposed bill?
Thank you, Bernard. Very simply, we have discovered that there are attempts to include, even in a basic curriculum, materials concerning LGBT. And these things are being taught to our children. And a lot of people are emotional about this matter. They have not averted their mind to some of these developments. And so we want to use this bill to prescribe those things. Allow my child to attain 18 and make his or her own decisions. They don't go to my kindergarten class and teach LGBT things to my child. That is what we want to use an aspect of this bill to ban.
So your first concern is the educational aspect.
Exactly.
Is it the same CSE we are talking about or something else? Because I recall a year ago that was a big issue. The comprehensive is that the same thing you're talking about?
Yes, it's part of it. How do you go talking about some of these things to my child who is 7 years? How is she supposed to make decisions at this stage? How are you introducing her to these things? Where you and I are not there, and the teacher, because it is contained in the pedagogy, in the curriculum, the teachers themselves are compelled to teach it. And in a very imperceptible way, they are finding their way into our curriculum. We've raised the matter. You make a statement on the floor, it will be debated. You question a minister, they will come, they will answer. But we see materials being produced within the educational subsector that continue to contain this information.
I see. So, I mean, I don't want us to re-debate CSE because that debate has sort of gone. But what I see in this law, the highlights I am seeing are not even very specific to the educational sector. They are very general. So, for example, people who use any medium or technological platform to produce, procure, market, broadcast, disseminate, publish, or distribute materials with the intention to promoting LGBTQ activities face a jail term of between 5 to 10 years. Couple of questions there. What do you mean by promoting LGBTQI plus activities, first and foremost?
Now, Bernard, what we have discovered is that by way of sidestepping using mainstream information development in terms of curriculum and the pedagogy, they have deployed what they call formation of clubs in schools. So you go to secondary school and basic schools, they are encouraging young persons to form clubs. And they are using these clubs as a means, as a conduit to disseminate their information. So they come to the school under the pretense of meeting the club members. And then in meeting them, the materials that they give them to use, to teach them on some of these things, contain largely information on LGBTQ agenda. And sometimes in the evening, they bring a van, they will tell you that it is a documentary, and the documentary is all about LGBT lifestyle. Bernard, as we speak, we have information that some couples are trooping into our country, gay couples. They are adopting our children, and in the court. And our social welfare officers are supposed to conduct social inquiry reports. They are unable to do that because they find a way of compromising them. So they come here, they go to a children's home, they adopt a 9-year-old boy or a 9-year-old girl because he or she is an orphan. They take him away, and this boy goes to live with couples who are of the same gender. How is he going to develop and make his own decisions when he or she attains 18 without being indoctrinated in the ways of these people? So it's part of the things we want to take.
Do you have evidence that this is actually occurring in any school?
Hello?
Do you have evidence that this is actually occurring in any school?
have. We've done some work, Bernard. And you see, we want to wait. Because we sent the bill for Gazette notification, it's 21 parliamentary sitting days. And by the reckoning, we should get the Gazette notification by the 6th of August. We should have the notification. When that is done, it becomes a formal document that will be laid in Parliament, and then will be taken through the proper procedure of legislation. Then the debate. Then we can give you the statistics. It's frightening.
Well, some will say there's already illegal to have same-sex intercourse in Ghana based on our criminal code, if I'm not to be mistaken. So that what you're doing is essentially going beyond, and don't forget the president has already said he's not going to legalize gay sex in Ghana. So some people think that should be enough. Why are you going beyond what exists in our criminal code to now prescribe new punishment for people who engage in same-sex intercourse, and also punish people who promote, you call it, this activity?
Bernard, you know that corruption is forbidden in under Act 29, our criminal and other offences code. So we've gone ahead to enact the Office of the Special Prosecutor. So it is immaterial that we have some aspects of our existing laws that prescribe this. But you won't find it anywhere that persons who go to our schools, our basic schools particularly, to try and indoctrinate our children in this way in any of our laws. It doesn't ban it. So we want to check those things with this law. That is why we want to make specific legislation. And Bernard, one other thing. We were hoping that the bill, when gazetted, when it becomes formal, then it will hit the public domain. But somehow they found a way of leaking it. We don't know why it leaked. So essentially, we are still sticking to a bill that is yet to be formalized by way of Gazette notification. Now, the other... Hello?
Yeah, you're on.
Yes. Now, the other thing that persons are worried about is the nature of the punishment. And lifestyles are lifestyles. We are saying that do these things in your closet. Even heterosexual people, married couples, a man biologically male and biologically female, when they marry, they do whatever they have to do in the deepest recesses of their home. They don't do it on the street. There are laws prohibiting such conduct on our streets. And our people, our friends are saying that we shouldn't check their conduct. We should allow them to do whatever they think they want to do openly. You know. No.
You're also saying that all LGBTQI groups, associations, clubs, and organizations should be disbanded. Now, there's freedom of association, I guess. Aren't you violating a fundamental freedom? And then in your the point about punishing those who use any medium, that could even affect academics, right? So if an academic does his research on LGBTQI behavior patterns in some part of the country or wherever, my understanding of the proposal is that once the person publishes a material which somebody deems promoting this, they could also face jail term. So you're talking about academic freedom and then freedom of association all being attacked by this bill.
It cannot be. That is this sort of interpretation. I am hesitant in describing it in some terms, but that is not the intent of the bill at all. Indeed, our resolve to sponsor this legislation arises out of the studies that are being conducted back in academia. If we don't have data, we will not panic to seek to do this. So, as for academic work, to investigate into this conduct and see how fast it is eating deep into our social fabric, the better. So, academia is not under attack. We are seeing people who deliberately do this for lifestyle purposes.
Yeah, but Rockson, which academic did you quote? Because in your 36 page, I don't see you quote any research to support the position that you're articulating.
Bernard, when you are enacting legislation, you don't quote. It's not like an academic paper that when you make when you make statements, you must give sources. It's not, you've been in academia, you know how it works. Bills don't work like that. It is only during the debating of the principles underlying the bill, that is where you can refer to materials that you have relied on to prepare the bill. So that's why we are waiting patiently for the Gazette notification to be given. When that is done and it is laid and it goes through first reading, the second reading is where we debate the principles and the philosophies underpinning the legislation. That is where you hear the statistics. Indeed, Bernard, as we speak, the HIV prevalence rate among people living among our people in Ghana is among the LGBT community. And this is statistics guys coming from Ministry of Health. It's not coming from Parliament. It's not coming from. If you go to National AIDS Control Program, they will give you very, very statistics of very horrendous penetration of these people into our community.
Yeah, but again, there are various maxims you can quote here. You can dislike an act, but not necessarily hate the person doing the act. So hate the sin and never the sinner is one of the maxims we are quoting. Let me just ask the question. Or you want to answer me?
You asked one other question that I thought I could address. The one regarding freedom of association.
Yes,
freedom of association, but it's not harmful.
Fair enough.
That is why conduct that we prescribe. For instance, there are thieves. We cannot allow thieves to go and form an association and say that because there's freedom of association, they want to form an association to as it were to promote their interest. No.
Now
the freedoms have their limitations.
The view is
the limitations are based on laws and morals and there are cultural values underpinning every law.
Fair enough. It would appear your bill is trying to preempt a situation which hasn't necessarily exist yet, because as I said earlier, the law is already clear on the acts of homosexuality in terms of its criminalization of the act. We also do not know if anybody has even been prosecuted for doing that. That suggests that rarely would you see anybody within that sphere conducting their activities in the open to be caught, to be prosecuted. Do you follow my logic? So
I do.
So I'm coming on. I'm just a second. Okay. It appears to me your bill is trying to preempt something. It's trying to preempt what you consider to be plans to introduce certain kinds of teaching and what you call propaganda within certain spaces. So this is more a preemptive bill, not a corrective one. If I'm correct.
Then as a lawmaker, and as a lawyer, laws are always enacted or formulated to deal with an existing situation and also to prevent its continuation. So
yes,
hold on. So the only thing our jurisprudence doesn't permit is to enact a law to stretch far back into time to occurrences that happened in the past, retroactivity of legislation. Apart from that, you enact laws to deal with prevailing situations and also future happenings. You can anticipate. So you can enact legislation to prevent it. So to that extent, I agree with your reasoning.
Yes, and that reasoning was actually a premise to a question that the global.
I thought you asked the question.
No. The premise.
Okay, so ask the question.
Agreeing with my premise then gives me the grounding to then go for my next question. That if the law is trying to preempt something that is not necessarily happening, or to
it's happening. I made the point that it is happening, and we can demonstrate that.
Okay, that's why I asked whether it was preemptive or corrective, and you said you agreed that it was preemptive, which is why I was proposing to my next question. A bit as is may, there's a global, I won't say universal view, but generally there's a tending towards freedom in terms of rights globally. People are allowed to essentially choose which sexual orientation they believe they are born with biologically, or which some will say they choose by way of choice. And the trend globally suggests that your bill would not go down favorably with many countries who are considered to be partners to Ghana, right? So, in fact, somebody who you know this morning, Gabi, tweeted and said that the only purpose this bill will serve is to get Ghana blacklisted, because in his view, the bill promotes hate. How do you intend to address that angle to the conversation, that this is really just trying to promote hate for people of that sexual orientation?
First of all, that is not the essence of the bill. There are anti-LGBT movements in Canada, of all places. There are anti-LGBT movements in America, of all places. There are anti-LGBT movements in South Africa, of all places. There are indeed anti-LGBT movements in Holland, considered the freest for LGBT activities in the world. So, for Gabi to argue this way is neither here nor there. He is missing the point. I don't even think that he has read the bill. Ghana got blacklisted for money laundering in the UK. I think it was 2 weeks ago that we got lifted. So you can get blacklisted for certain things. But we are saying that as a country, we owe it a duty to ourselves and our future generations to enact laws to check certain activities which, in the wisdom of everyone or the majority of the people, are offensive to our future group. And this is one. Bernard, I am saying, and my other co-sponsors and majority of Ghanaians are saying, allow persons to have the opportunity to make decisions for themselves at 18 and beyond. They don't descend to the below the 18 age bracket and seek to indoctrinate them in your social ways. It's one of the cardinal points that everyone, those who are emotional about this matter, are missing, and which this bill seeks to achieve.
Well, a couple of points there. So you're saying majority of Ghanaians are against LGBTQI. That could be true, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they support the contents of the bill, because, as I've already pointed out, our law is actually outrightly against gay sex acts. So, and that suggests that that is satisfactory to the citizenry. What you're asking for is to go beyond the law to now say that promoting it, and the word promoting can be very interpreted on it. It's a very loose interpretation of what a promotion is, because even the point of, if an academic does a research report on same sex and comes up to the same conclusion, somebody could interpret that to be promotion. So you're going beyond the sensibilities of Ghanaians to now say any attempt to, in your view, promote this on any platform should be criminalized. So it's not, I'm not sure if you can say that that's what the majority of Ghanaians want. Yes, what the majority of Ghanaians wants is articulated in the law, which is very clear. What you're asking for seems to be a bit beyond that.
Bernard, I don't think your question is framed on a premise that is clear, because I've made the point that we don't seek to, as it were, prescribe academia from conducting research into this matter. In fact, academia is divided into several schools. The social studies is there, the scientific studies is there, then the technical angle. Now, the social scientists want to look at the social aspects of this behavior, and that is encouraged. In fact, they are churning out a lot of research. The scientific are looking into the health implications and all that, and these are the materials that have come to our disposal, and that's what we've relied on. We are not asking anybody not to conduct inquiry into it. We cannot do that. But what we are saying is that the bill is not intended to as it were, bar persons from conducting an inquiry. But what it seeks to do is that this is a life choice. It's a lifestyle matter. So you don't have the freedom to go to my 7-year-old daughter and go and be talking to her about your lifestyle choices.
Lawyer, so why don't you make it specific in relation to kids? Because again, the way I read what is in the bill is very broad. So essentially, how does forming an association to support LGBTQI rights translate into pushing it for kids? Because
if you let me land, then you see my
okay.
point. So,
because your argument
again,
seems to always go back to the school kids and the kids.
So okay, so again, we are saying that is why it's a bill. Bills always receive input when they come to the floor. Indeed, we have asked other persons to send memoranda. Your colleague Nanama tweeted, and I told her that Nanama, I would love the fact that you would send an input. So we are inviting input from other persons. We want to make the law rich. We want to make the law effective. So if there are any ideas out there, persons should send small memoranda. Even it could be a one-page memoranda. It will enrich the bill. It will enrich the law. We are merely sponsors. We have been able to formulate our thoughts into this, and we welcome other aspects that will stick. So areas that we think are great, we can take them out, or we can improve upon them. To ask for inputs and other ideas, we welcome them. The bill is not even laid yet. It is yet to be laid. So to that extent, when I want to allay the fears of other persons who may